It's Easter week, and the A to Z podcast is back from the dead. If you think that's bad, I'm just getting started. I'm Zach Jackson. He's Andre Knott. We talk here every now and again. Andre's usually 6 or 10 or 20 minutes late. He's not usually 6 days late, but I finally found him. I think he's in Seattle. I fell asleep watching the baseball game last night. Anyway, I got a bunch of takes. You want me to keep rolling, or you want to say something?
Nah, just keep going, man. I'm glad you found me. I didn't know it was all because of me, but let's keep it going. Hey, you know what? Let's say this. 3 games in Detroit during the day last week before we go to Kansas City over the weekend, before I go to Seattle, not set up for good podcasting times.
No, I know. And, guys, sometimes, like, if we get a chance to do one on a Friday or Saturday morning, like, we just don't because we feel like it's not going to get listened to or it's going to get erased by that day or weekend sporting events. And frankly, I've done a little bit of pre-draft work. I'm excited for you guys to see some of it on The Athletic in the coming days. And the other percentage of me has really enjoyed the shit out of not having a bunch of pre-draft work to do and not chasing quarterbacks and top 5 picks and all of that too. So anyway, we're here. Magic Johnson quit. The only person I thought would ever quit their job to fire off awful tweets would have been Ben Axelrod. But Magic quitting is a big deal. It's a failure all the way around there, Dre. And I know eventually we want to talk specifically about LeBron, where he is, what he means. It's not been – this is a little deeper than most of you think. It's not been a real good couple weeks for LeBron's friends, a couple months, a year, right? It happens. Right. The best thing for the Lakers, for LeBron, was to move on. They moved on from Luke Walton. That was probably long ago decided. The Magic thing came out of nowhere. Maybe that'll end up being fine. But I definitely wanted to talk about this before we got to Tiger and baseball and anything else. Because, I remember way back, 2 months ago now or more, when we saw this thing teetering and we said, can you save it? Was he always cool with wasting a year of his prime or back end of his prime or whatever it is? And it's like, this is the ultimate championship or bust situation. And after 1 year, the guy who made at least a portion of it happen. I think history might show that LeBron just made up his mind he was going to L.A. and everybody rode along with him. But to see it go that way, probably a stunner, right? Is that a fair way to say it?
No, that's a fair way. I mean, look, like you said, there's a podcast that we've been riding on or sitting back on that's strictly all about LeBron, and I think and it's coming, and there'll be a time and place for it. LeBron had his mind made up. Look, the Magic Johnson push at midnight of July 1st or whatever else, that makes for a great story, and I'm sure there's some truth to that. But LeBron was pretty much sold already, for the most part. He had his mind made up. His kids had their mind made up. The Cavaliers as an organization knew what was going on. People around the team knew that he was leaving and going to LA. Not a surprise. But what I will say is Magic Johnson's a special person or special character. And I remember reading or somebody saying, like, when this was all happening, it's a shame that kids of this generation know Magic Johnson for failures as a TV talk show host, failures as a head basketball coach, and now failure as a team president. When, in all rights, he should be looked at or thought of just as highly, if not more highly, than LeBron for what he did in his career, what he's become as a business mogul. And I totally get it. We were just having this conversation. And answer this question for me as we go along, because I was having lunch yesterday with some different people that work with the Indians. And I was like, and they were like, well, Magic should be able to, if Simmons wants to talk to him about, passing the ball and being a big guy as a guard, it's like, that's what players do. Players speak amongst themselves. And I go, yeah. So when the Indians go down to Miami, you guys will be cool if Derek Jeter's out in shortstop taking ground balls with Lindor.
Right.
I agree that Magic Johnson should have that openness to be able to go to the 76ers and help things out. But because of the storm that is LeBron James that the LA Lakers let into their organization, the normalcies are no longer normal, right? And here's the other thing. LeBron picked a franchise that was just as bad, if not worse, than the Cleveland Cavaliers organization that he left.
No doubt. And signing the likes of Rondo and JaVale McGee didn't make it any better.
Yeah.
Lance.
No, right. But even before all of that, yes, all of that, those are the obvious ones, right? Those are the obvious ones that we can see, the signings they made after LeBron. But look at the guts of the LA Lakers since they got rid of Kupchak they haven't been a good organization. Since Dr. Buss died, they have not been a good organization. The daughter does great. The best move she made was messing around with playing with Phil Jackson's old balls. And that got her to keep Phil Jackson there to win a couple championships. Otherwise, in playing with Phil Jackson's old balls, what have they done? They've been a mess since her father passed away. And then once Kobe walked away. Even Kobe's last couple of years, even after they won a championship, I mean, it's been a mess. So for LeBron to pick there, congrats. For the situation that they're under now, congrats. But the Magic Johnson part of it, and that press conference to me was so, gosh, I hate saying this. There's 2 press conferences for the rest of my life that I'll never forget involving Magic Johnson. One, I was 13 years old. You right? Right? One, I was 13. I was 13 years old during one of them when he retired because he had HIV. And the other one comes from a couple of weeks ago when you guys are texting me going, is this shit real?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it comes down to this. Like, you're right. I mean, you know, how different generations view different people is something that will never change, right? No matter how much the world changes. Because our dads can tell us all about Jim Brown and about Reggie Jackson, the black one, right? And it goes on and on. But we didn't, not only did we not see it and live it, but we didn't see it and live it through the eyes of a 10, 20, or 30-year-old like they did, right? So that's going to be forever. I think what it comes down to with Magic, who was an incredible basketball player and is in the discussion of one of the top 5 ever when you look at his vision and the unique player that he was, the versatile, before his time where everybody could play multiple positions. He did that. And then all the things that he's done good. And then, of course, the crazy diagnosis. I think what it comes down to, Dre, is why do we play fantasy football? Well, sure, we like to get together with the fellas and rip them and all that. And we say all the time, we put our $20 in or our $100 in, whatever it is. We don't really, we want to win. We don't really care. But there is that little bit of you're actually playing fantasy football. And even though it's you and I sharing it, and I don't know we've ever argued about it. We've disagreed on who to pick up, who to trade, who to claim, right? Like,
our biggest arguments are just that we can make fun of each other for being wrong.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, man, like when you get one of these when you get one of these jobs, it is like you're living out the fantasy world, right? If you are even 25% of a sports fan. And Magic is basketball. Magic's life is basketball. And as goofy and as clumsy as it comes out when he basically says, I want to be able to send tweets. I want to be an ambassador to the game of basketball. Like he does. The delivery there is awkward, but that's what he is. He's saying, I have failed as a GM because this isn't his first time doing it, being involved post-playing career, right? Like, it's not for everybody. And we see it time and time again. We see it in coaching when these guys that you recognize because they had a mildly successful pro career and a wildly successful college career, and they get back in college coaching or high school coaching or pro coaching, and within a couple years they're out and it didn't work, and you say, man, that guy had cachet, that guy had connections. Well, some of it's human nature. They don't work like people that really need the money, and some of it is just different going through it when you are taking the fire, when you are making the calls, when you have to be grinding. And I know Magic and Pelinka showed up during March at the OVC tournament, at the ACC tournament, all that shit. But the best ones, Dre, are doing it year-round for years, right? Yes. I mean, the Browns are the hottest team in the NFL, and we're on their way, and we'll talk about the schedule coming out and all that. But I can tell you, on the bye week, 2 days after the idiot coach was fired, the 6:00 Kent State-Toledo game, Elliott Wolf and John Dorsey were there, right? Because Toledo has 4 guys that are at least considered for draftable grades, and they are freaking grinding, and that's what you have to do for year after year after year after year, and it's just not for everybody. And I think Magic finally just said, and look, it's more than fair to talk about Rich Paul and LeBron and today's NBA culture in general and all this making it not worth it. But I think he just was ready to say, this is not for me. I'm going back to a little bit of TV and a lot of bad tweeting.
I want to go back to tweeting, man. I mean, like you said, I hate laughing at it. But like, It was real though. Like think about it. He's like, how old is he? Like 55, 60? He's got to be like,
well,
like a 60-year-old man. I got to get back.
Yeah, he'd be right about just short of 60. Yeah. Yep.
Right. So, but think about it. He's sitting around and he'd go, man, I got to get back to tweeting. And I'm like, come on, Magic. That's like my dad said. Like, what are you doing? But the whole point to it that I got out of it, and you're right. If you remember, and I do remember this, when he came back to try to coach way back when, probably, and I don't want to put a time stamp on it. I remember he quit though because players were like on their cell phones, like in the locker room, and he was like, he took somebody's cell phone and threw it. He was like, you don't play on no cell phone when you in here. Like that's how like the different era that he was from, and then for him to try to take this job over, it's like you said, there's a lot of legwork to it. And I just think in this day and time for what he has put together in his career, he needed a lot of helping hands to do a lot of the legwork if he was going to be successful in this. And that goes back to me. The LA Lakers were not prepared for this. It was like they rushed in a moment of, oh my God, we're falling apart. Magic, will you take over? And Magic couldn't say no to Jenny Buss, as we found out. He basically quit because he wanted to fire Luke Walton. He goes, she loves both of us. Like that quote to me was so like telling. Like Magic, it's not about love. Your team stinks. You have no team chemistry. Nothing fits. And all he's thinking about is, man, I love Jenny. And Jenny, we love each other. And it's like, and that's great. Well, you should never take the job because you should know that job comes down. And I don't even want to be mad or mean towards Magic. I think this is the culmination of, as you said, the Rich Pauls, LeBron James, what the NBA stands, the Wojs breaking stories left and right, what it takes to really know, what it takes to have the right scouts overseas, to have the right coaches, the right people within your building. As a matter of fact, even dealing with the Ball family. Look at the story that they dealt with the Ball family. They came up with their own shoes that basically almost killed their number one sell product. Like that's not even, like the year has been so crazy that we didn't even make a story out of how fucked up the Ball family situation is. Like the Ball situation is really messed up. Like they're guys stealing money from them, guys making bad shoes from them. You got the kid saying basically he's breaking away from his dad and his family. And like Magic Johnson had to fly across the country because this guy almost made the kid have a surgery on his ankle that he didn't need. So if you're Magic Johnson, you're going, whoa. I'm Magic, baby. I don't deal with all this stuff. This is ridiculous. Y'all going to have to win on your own. Look what the Clippers are doing. The Clippers got the craziest owner of all time sitting on the sideline. I mean that in a good way. And they're winning. They're making playoff history right now, while the Lakers are one of the most embarrassing things ever, and they have one of the best players of all time on their roster.
Yeah, I looked it up. Magic was born in the greatest month of the year in 1959, so he'll be 60 this year. So that was a good guess.
Wow.
Yeah, no, look, it's a lot of people, and now it's the hindsight is 2020 thing. But you could look at the lack of shooters around LeBron, right? Just the lack of proven players around LeBron. We've seen how Grandpa LeBron, we've seen some of the sulking and some of the things he does, passive-aggressive, I guess is probably better, as he takes command of a locker room. And it always had worked out for him. And it still might. It's just right now, this whole thing kind of went kaput, and, it doesn't really look like. I think Magic might have been walking away before he got fired a year from now, because LeBron's 35 years coming up, right? And does anybody think – I mean, nobody knows what the NBA is going to look like a year from now because all these guys are coming to free agency. But does anybody think that any of those A-listers are going to the Lakers, or that if multiple of them don't come, or if some of those guys don't take huge strides, that the Lakers have any chance to win the title next year? No, no one thinks that.
Well, my question would be – right. No, my question would be, why would you go to the Lakers?
Right.
And I think that's an amazing thing to say. And I think for Lakers fans, it's something that they've never heard before. But they aren't the number one thing to run to. And it makes you question, and this goes back to LeBron, is what the hell did they have so bad that made LeBron want to be there so bad? And we can go back and forth on Dan Gilbert. And like I said, this is a whole nother podcast. We can go back and forth on Dan Gilbert. We can go back and forth on wanting to branch away from being away from home for a little while. And I get that. The Miami thing was always a college thing because he never got away from college. I think the one thing it says about LeBron to me is he has the same things that go through our minds go through his minds. The questioning of what would life be if we ever had a chance to live here. You know what I mean? Like, we all have those. And some of us are like, man, home is so great. I never want to leave home. This is my niche. This is where I want to, where I want to finish my life, do my life. And I think there are some people that no matter how how far you get in life, no matter how you get along in life, you always question, I wonder what life would have been like if I'd have went to this school, or what life would have been if I'd have lived here, or if I would have did this. And to me, just looking at the whole situation, it wasn't about basketball anymore. I think it was just plainly, I want to go somewhere else and see if I can be successful somewhere else, and not talking about dribbling a basketball. And I think that's the scariest thing if you're a Lakers fan, is you got this unbelievable talent, but I just don't think where he's at mentally and physically, why would a top guy go there? You know what they're going to end up with? They're going to end up with the all-Geritol team. I'll say it right now. They're going to have like Jimmy Butler will sign for like 2 years and like 30, 40 million. And they'll get another veteran that's petering out, that's not at the top of his game. And that's just what they're going to have. It's going to be like the Karl Malone,
Gary Payton.
It was Payton. Why can't I think of Payton's name? Gary Payton, the glove. I'm in Seattle. I should know it's the glove. That's what they're going to end up with, though. They're going to end up with that type of, like, the old, team that's like, hey, let's go make one more run for it. But why, if you were a young guy and you don't know the team can become yours, why would you go do it? Unless you're Kyrie and you're completely out of your mind.
Well, right. It's just it is entirely possible that LeBron said, I'm kind of done with basketball, and I think he could end. There's a chance he could end, not done with basketball because obviously he can still play it. But this move right now, there's not one sign that this move was for anything but non-basketball reasons, and there's a chance that stays on his legacy. And we know it's different here, but we know there's a chance, Dre, that Lakers fans never forgive him for this. Right, like this gets real ugly and lasts for decades. I mean, I think there's a strong chance of that happening. Actually, I really
strong.
do.
Very, very.
Yeah,
I mean, too. But
I always said during the prior free agencies, like he's not going to the West, right? Like one thing LeBron is basketball smart, and he knows, and he's had it good in the East, and then all of a sudden, not only was he gone to the West, but to like not a team that hasn't made the playoffs in multiple years, a team that had some young guys that are intriguing, but nobody that you're saying, oh my gosh, this is the next breakout star, right? Like a team that didn't have a single other guy, like a number two, a bona fide number two, didn't really. I mean, we saw it. They tried to strong arm an Anthony Davis trade, and the Pelicans said no. Like that's not enough. We don't want these guys. No, thank you. So, who knows?
Their season is gonna.
May 14th is the lottery. That's a huge deal here in Cleveland. It's a huge deal nationwide, obviously, because of Zion, because of Ja Morant. The conspiracy theories are going to be flowing. They're already starting with the Knicks and maybe the Lakers.
The Cavs are going to win it. I don't know why. The Cavs are going to win it. We're getting Zion. I really feel that way. Put that on wax. Put that on right now. Well, Zion's coming to Cleveland. We're getting it.
I think, obviously, that would be a lot of fun. I would like that result. We'll see what happens, though. I truly don't believe that it is fixed. I will entertain your theories because you're going to send them to me anyway. We've proven that. We'll see.
That's why I'm just going with he's coming. That's why I'm just going with we're getting him. I'm just like, he's coming to Cleveland. Just to piss off America. Just to piss off America the worst way yet. He's coming to Cleveland.
All right, one last NBA thing. I'm sure, I know you've been on a crazy schedule, but you catch up on things via Twitter the way I do.
Yes.
I mean, Kevin Durant's body language, like,
oh man,
what is going on?
We might have to do a whole pod on him too. He is. I would call him Cupcake, but I'd only be doing that out of just being a jokester. If you know anything about this podcast, anything about me, I'm a big Kevin Durant fan. I love his game. I love watching him, and I think he is. And I know this is weird to say, but he is this. He's this generation's kid, though. I just don't think that he has any foundation of like he feels like he can say and do whatever. He can protect himself however he wants. He can act however he wants, whether it be with the burner account. And he's not a bad dude. I don't think he's a bad dude, but his body language tells me he's taking on way too much. And the pressure of, are you staying? Are you going? Is this even your team? Did you just rip away a championship? Like, think about those are all the things that have been put upon him. And I think it's finally all at once coming to take over his mind. And you know what? Like, it's taking over. You can see, like, really where he's at in life. where he's at in his basketball career, he probably is the most talented basketball player in the world right now. I mean, Giannis is right there, but he's not as accomplished as KD. But KD's not having fun anymore. And isn't that weird? Like you just said, when you watch his body language, do you watch Warriors games and think, man, KD is flowing? Like even when he goes on a run here or there, he never seems to be a happy-go-lucky guy. And I think that shows up in his games. And he's letting Patrick Beverley, he even said after game one, this is what Patrick Beverley does. He's from Chicago. He gets under your skin. He plays hard. No surprise. So why did you let him get you thrown out of a game? How do you follow the next game? Why are you still going back and forth with people about going to Golden State? All of those things to me are wastes of time and effort. And he's got this unbelievable career and a chance to go out and win another. I'm not like everybody else in Northeast Ohio. I don't hate the Warriors. I don't like KD going to the Warriors. It did change the balance of the NBA forever, probably, especially how we look at that Cavaliers team that won a championship. But KD, I just think he's right. He's writing his own story, and it's not going to be a real fun story, and it shouldn't be that way with the talent he has and been blessed with.
So wherever you are on the old angry white man scale, the get off my lawn scale, the basketball is not what it once was scale. Wherever you are on that, are on or off, right? You can agree that what makes March so special at the lower levels in the NBA playoffs is when they start in April and go till June. What makes those things so special is it's not about rankings, endorsements, super teams, or free agency, right? Because we have those at all levels now. It's about winning because you either win and move on or you lose and you go home, right? And so now you have the Warriors trying to continue to make NBA history, play board all year long. It's always news. Yeah. It's human nature that they're disinterested. It's logical that they're saving guys' legs, right? It's fine that they're waiting. Now it's time to win, and Kevin Durant is like doing this outward pouting, and they're blowing 31-point leads, and it's just like the most baffling thing, like because he's always been his own cat, right? He's always kind of had this air of mystery, and we've certainly seen the immaturity with it. But since he's come to the Warriors, what's he done in April, May, and June? Just fucking hit dagger jumper after dagger jumper, right? Just win games for these guys. Like, take them from great to unguardable. And now, I mean, it's 2 games in. But, I mean, you see it in little video clippings. You see it in the box score. You see it when you just watch the game for one quarter, which I did last night. He's like mentally checked out, and it's just baffling.
Yes, it is. But to me, all the other shit has taken over is what it tells. You know what I mean? Like, all the other stuff. It's no longer about just playing the game. It's all the other shit in life has gotten to him. So by the time the game starts, where all players tell you the game is your sanctuary, right? Mm-hmm. The game is where you get away from reality. You can go out there and just let it flow. He can't do that any longer, or he's not doing that right now. Which look, the Warriors are probably going to win, and this conversation we're having may be meaningless in 2 months, right?
Sure.
But I think when Steve Kerr knows he's got to sit down with him at the end of the season, he's probably going to go, KD, thanks for coming. It just doesn't seem like you're real happy here. Right? Like, why would you try to push anything? Why would you even try to ask for him? It was like, sure, if you want to come back and you want to keep doing this, sure. But KD, you haven't shown us that this really fits who you are and what you are. And to be honest, I don't know what does fit and shows what you want to be and where you want to be. Because what situation is going to be any easier or better for him going forward? Zach, think about that. If you're the New York Knicks, and I know if you're the Knicks, you're hard up, you'll take them. But how the hell are you going to make KD happy? And I'm just using him as an example. Like, how do you make him happy? Like, do you really want to give him 4 years, $200 million and hope that you don't got to deal with all the other shit? And not that he's a bad person and not that anything but when you pay that type of money for that type of talent, you need that type of talent to lead your franchise, to be your franchise. Like, you know what I mean? Not the guy you're worried about is he on Instagram pouting and mad, or is he in the gym mad because no one would play catch with him? Like, you can't worry about that when you get a talent like KD's.
Yeah, it's really weird, and we'll continue to talk about it because the playoffs are just revving up. Right now, April 16th or whatever the date is, if you had to put 100 on the Warriors or the field, who are you taking?
I want to say Warriors, but I got to be honest. And from a text message we had a couple weeks ago, I think these playoffs can be intriguing. I think the non-LeBron factor makes it very intriguing. And I think there's going to be a team. And I think the Bucks may be more for real than anybody really wants to give them credit for. I think the West is going to be taxing on the Warriors. They're going to get to I think they're going to get to the finals. But I'm telling you what, on April 16th, on this day, and it's not because of how they lost against the Clippers. I've felt this way all along. I would take my 100 and put it on the field.
That's interesting. I
just think it's going to be tough for them.
Yeah,
and the boogie injury didn't look good last night.
No, and that's certainly intriguing, but that's also something that could be addition by subtraction.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was going to say the same thing. Yes,
right.
It never fit. He never fit. I don't know why either side agreed to that. To be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a real weird time. I'm anxious. I have not seen a ton, Dre, of the playoffs. I've it is a different level of basketball from a focus and competitiveness standpoint. It's 15 interesting teams and the Detroit Pistons minus Blake Griffin. Obviously,
yeah. What is
some teams more interesting and more dangerous than others. So we'll see. We know Boston has the talent to play deep. They've been a mess all year long, right? We know Houston thinks that they're good enough. They might get that shot. Everybody counted out the Blazers, and we'll see.
Blazers without their big guy, I don't know. But Houston has the key ingredient. You just said they believe. Real simple.
Your impressions and your thoughts on Tiger Woods winning the Masters.
Holy shit! Just a great moment in time in sports and life. You just think we're in 11 years. What all's happened in his life? What all's happened in all of our lives in the last 11 years? And I think the one thing that it shows up, and let me go to this part of it first. As a golfer and as an athlete, we've always known that he was special. He was special. He was different. I like the life story part of it because, I saw some people complaining on Twitter. Surprise, surprise. People were complaining on Twitter that, when he was picking up his kids and smiling and hugging, and they're like, well, look at all the shit he put them through. And I wish we would all take a deep pause before we put our little paws all over the keyboards of our telephones and of our computers, because regardless of how you feel about Tiger Woods is us. We've all had self-inflicted wounds that we've put to ourselves and to our families. But the American story and the story that we want to teach and the story that you want to see is that no matter how many times that we have self-inflicted wounds and we hurt ourselves, whether it's physically, emotionally, or mentally, or hurt our families, the real story about being an American and being a human being is, can you bounce back? Can you get back to being the best of who you are and what you are? Now, all of us can't hit a golf ball 300 yards straight. All of us can't hit a ball. Hell, I can't hit a ball 5 feet straight like a golf ball. But it is, to me, amazing. And if you don't get that component of the story, and you don't get that component of where life stands and how life works, that's rather unfortunate for you, I believe, because I don't think you have to be a huge Tiger Woods fan, but if you're not as a people fan, as a person, to not be excited to see that, to have that excitement again, golf is it's one of the hardest things ever. I know I went to Topgolf a couple of months ago, and I was awful at it. It was what it was, but I wasn't good. And to be able to have the strength and the ability, after this guy's back was basically completely done, right? His body was in shambles. He had to get up at like 3:30 in the morning on Sunday. And just the coolest thing for me is this. It's not just me. It's not just Zach, but to see other athletes and to see how Tiger stopped. There's only a handful of athletes throughout your lifetime, no matter how old you are. Whether you're 20 years old listening to this podcast, whether you're 50, 60 listening to this podcast, we only get like a handful of athletes or people in our lifetime that can stop time. That can stop time no matter where you're at, no matter who you're with, and make you all galvanize and go to a television or go somewhere and watch. And he's one of them. And he did that again this past weekend. I was in Kansas City. I watched both Indians, Royals teams gather around TVs, gather around big screens. The players wanted it during batting practice. They wanted to have the Masters up on the Jumbotron. I watched announcers who have had success, won Cy Youngs, all those other things. I've watched managers that have won World Series. All of our attention was on the same thing. There's not many people that can do that in life. and it was really cool to see him come through. I got to tell you, what was the guy's name that came in second? He was actually balling too.
Exactly. The answer to that is exactly, because Tiger Woods won.
Yes, exactly. But like when he put it in the drink the first time, and I'm not even a big golf fan, I literally yelled out loud, "Here he comes!" That's not how I am. I don't ever do that. Really cool moment. I'm glad we were able to see it, and I was glad he was able to do it. I don't care if he catches Jack. I don't care about everything else that comes along with it. I'm glad I got to see that moment. 11 years in between winning those types of.
We've had this conversation before. He's a lot like the guy we started talking about, Mr. James. Right? Mm-hmm. They've grown up in front of our eyes with their victories, making it such, and their warts all in front of us. We've seen the ups and downs, the hate, the praise, the swooshes, the everything you got to deal with. And I made sure when I saw this tweet that I'm going to read here, I retweeted it on Sunday because I thought it was just well said. I'd never heard of this Darren Sands person who put it up there, but someone passed it along my timeline, and I said, damn. And it says, Tiger is a lot like America. He's awful. He's awesome. He's got addictions. He's thrilled us, embarrassed us. He's lied. He's cheated. He's the best ever, and he's all of ours whether we like it or not. There was little faith he could be fixed, but there was faith, and it worked. And, that's not all of it. That's not everybody's angle on it. But, Dre, these guys get to a point where they have nowhere to go but down. The elite of the elite. That's Tiger. That's LeBron. That was Michael Jordan 20 years ago, right? All of these things. And we saw Tiger fall about as far as he could fall. And then you add the injury where just 5 years ago, Tiger was saying, I am not sure I'll ever play golf again, let alone play at another level. And you can make all the jokes. I laugh every time on Instagram. I see the guy wearing the Tiger mugshot shirt as Tiger walks by, and God bless him. Yeah. Tiger gives the guy a smile. Tiger hugs his caddy and says, we did it. Tiger gives measured answers and lets his emotion out in the post-round press conference, and I don't know that he would have done that 15 years ago because I don't know that he was a real person then. He wasn't raised to be. If you've ever read anything about Earl Woods, Tiger was not raised to be a real person. He was raised to be a machine, and he was a fucking machine. And I think what makes that so special, and listen, I hear you, the golf fan who remembers the 97 Masters and all the other dozen-plus majors. I hear you as people who hate him for what he did and how he treated his family. But it's not just
stop for a
to
second,
me.
Stop for a second. Wait, you just said something. So what he did to his family. Like, he didn't do anything. He was bad. He was adultery. He was bad to his wife. No one questions that. Mm-hmm. But how many people that are bad to their wives get treated the way Tiger got treated?
Well, those people don't live in the spotlight.
Bullshit. We know people that cheat on their wives and are bad on their wives and husbands that are in the spotlight all over our world. We've had presidents that do it. We've had actors that do it. We have athletes that do it all the time. But Tiger got treated differently. I'm sorry.
Well,
Tiger
he got caught
differently. Guys get caught all the time. I'm just like I said. Like, I agree with where you're going, but all Tiger ever did, he got caught cheating on his wife. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it because I just read something really good on this. If she was the same color as him, would America have reacted the same way? I'll answer for you. I don't think so. Because I think a lot of people that didn't want to like him or didn't, because race is still a part of what our country is built upon, unfortunately. And because he doesn't look like everybody else that's on a golf course, when he got caught cheating on a white woman, they reacted differently. Like, if LeBron gets caught cheating on Savannah, or the same thing with Savannah, do you think the world will react the same way it reacted to Tiger Woods? I'm going to tell you they wouldn't. Because nobody would care about the little black girl from West Akron that got cheated on the way they care about a woman that looks like them. That is unfortunately, I hate saying it, but it's the life that I live. And I believe that wholeheartedly.
I don't necessarily disagree. I'm not sure, though. I think it's more – I look at it from more of the people just embraced him, right, and then they felt let down. And you're right. What goes on in or out of anybody's marriage is nobody else's business, right? But he had become such a figure, and then Two, I think it's the way it happened. I mean, beating the car, beating him with a golf club, right?
Right.
You know, the admissions after this. And then
and all the porn stars. Well, Bill Clinton's had the same thing, and Bill Clinton's been selling books, and people, and I'm not getting Bill Clinton. I'm just saying.
No, I can't. I can't argue any of that. I can't argue any of that.
Your current president has had all kinds of allegations with women and everything else, and people still run to the hills for him. I'm just like it made me think, and I'm not going at you. It just made me think. I was like, what the fuck did Tiger Woods really do? What did he really do other than ruin his own household that we're so engaged in and caring about? He ruined his own household, not Zach's household, not Andre's household, not Tim down the streets. He fucked up Tiger Woods' household. So nobody feels worse about it than Tiger Woods. He should have been Derek Jeter. No one would have said a word.
No, I don't disagree with that. I think what I was saying is why this is such. Well, there's many reasons it's such a remarkable story, but it's not just, Dre. I think the emotional investment, or the stories were out there about the guy who bet $80,000 on Tiger to win 1 point some million, and he did.
Yeah.
It's not just the investment, because you can have that shit. You can play Madden and be emotionally invested in a game, right? I mean, we already talked about fantasy football. You can bet on baseball every day of the week and be invested in the game, right? Watching the San Diego Padres on your computer. You can bet college baseball these days, but the human side of it, and you don't need to agree or disagree with what you said, and I'm not disputing any of it. I'm saying people feel one way or another about Tiger Woods because he's been a part. If you're a golf fan, he's been part of your life, right? If you've ever bought Nike anything, he's been a part of your life. And so to see what he went through, the ups and the downs, much of it self-inflicted, the injuries, all of this, to come back and get close and then not be sure he could ever play again. And then to do this, the most famous golf tournament in the world, trailing, looked like he was knocked out. I would have won my pool with Frankie Molinari, but I didn't.
Molinari.
Tiger came back and did. And I just think that's what it is to me. Is I don't care what the sport is. I don't care what the stakes are. When you have some sort of human connection to who's playing, to who's coaching, to who you want to win, whatever it may be, right? Beyond your bracket pool, beyond your fantasy team, all that shit that I joke about that nobody cares about and people tell me about them anyway, right? When there's some sort of human connection, negative or positive, deep emotion, or your third cousin once met this person, right? Then you watch it and root for it in a completely different way. And just to judge the reactions of people that I interact with daily, of Twitter people, to read all the articles, to see the way everyone was glued as Sunday morning turned into Sunday afternoon, and to watch a real person, their Tiger, kind of ride that whole wave, right? It was awesome because it was very real. It was very human. And the old Tiger wasn't that. And I just think that, to me, is what
that's a good point.
What made it special. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, the last thing you said at the end, and I only brought up the other part because I do feel like I think that is a part of it. Unfortunately, John Daly is looked at, and I can just go through examples. John Daly is beloved for being a complete fuck up and fucking up his own life. But not that, nor here nor there. That part doesn't matter. We can talk about that Tiger part, but I think you just said the part that makes it the best. Tiger Woods, because of the injuries and because of the self-inflicted wounds, he humanized himself. And I think because he humanized himself, because all of us can sit here and think about how great we used to be, whether you're Al Bundy and you're selling shoes, or whether you're Andre Knott talking baseball during the baseball season. We all look back at 20 years ago or 15 years ago when we were in our prime and we were unstoppable. And it's cool to see a guy get back to that point. We know Tiger Woods will never be the Tiger Woods that we saw 12, 14, 15 years ago. But damn, it felt good to see him do it this past weekend at the biggest golf tournament that we have.
Yeah, I just think something that if you have a little bit of a clue, LeBron James is not you, right? Odell Beckham is not you.
Right.
I don't care what you played. And we have a Glory Days segment and we poke fun at each other and everybody else, right? So now that the Tiger was humanized and came back and won, that's awesome, because he's not a human golfer. I mean, I remember a couple of shots on Thursday from the Masters. He didn't hit his driver well at all, and then he'd hit it over the trees, and I would think, oh my, I could not do that in 300 tries, right? And you just saw him, and he just kind of hung around, and hung around and never jumped back into the lead until the back nine on Sunday. And it was like, I cannot believe all these things that happened. And it did. And everyone was glued. And now the next two majors are at places that he's dominated in the past. Golf is back in the common discussion. So, TV benefits, sports in general benefits. I think he's both a hero and a villain. And the fact that he's a hero again is it makes for good. I wish the next one was tomorrow. It's in 4 weeks, but I'm ready for it. I'm here.
I hear you. Yeah, so am I. Hey, shout out quickly to Russell Wilson for announcing that man got paid while he laying in the bed with Sierra. Next time, stand up and take your chains off. I was in Seattle. I had someone that told me that they're very in-depth in knowing what's going on in Seattle, and the guy told me 24 hours ago there was no way in the world that Seattle would pay him, and they did. I love people that try to be reporters and have no idea what the fuck they're talking about.
Well, one of the things that I laugh at is when the kids call something a flex. I've kind of caught on, and it says weird flex, but okay. And then, of course, everybody thinks they're hip and funny and says that, and it's like you're not really getting it there. But what a flex to announce your $130 million contract via Twitter while laying in bed with Sierra. I woke up to that this morning, and I laughed my ass off for several minutes. I did.
Yeah, I'm glad you saw it. You knew what I was talking about when I brought it up, because I was literally. Because it's a big deal here, because I'm in Seattle, obviously. And so, it was, on the news, it became, because it didn't happen until almost midnight, Pacific time. So here it was.
In coming episodes, I want to talk baseball, get caught up here. I've been watching a little bit, listening a little bit more. I want to talk Zion for sure. I want to see what happens with the NBA playoffs. But I want to close this with just one question to you, Dred, that's. And this isn't to you. This is just something that I've been wanting to propose here on the podcast. And I don't want to add any qualifiers or anything to it or any clarifications. I just want to ask you a question. At what point, what is the number of pictures that you can take of yourself and post online no matter who you are? At what point does it become a disease?
If you post more than 3 a week of yourself, I think 3 a week is the number I would say.
Even that sounds high.
That is a lot. And I don't even do that many.
Odell Beckham is $1 million business inside $2 billion businesses, right? I get it to an extent.
Right.
But man, I watch these other people, man, and I just wonder. And like I said, I just been doing a lot of scrolling lately. And I just kind of wonder what's up with people. I do.
Well, that's a number that we can get to. That's a good question, because I get where you're getting at. Totally get where you're getting at. And I don't know if there's the right number. It's a good question. It's a quality question. It really is. Because like I said, maybe people are weird, but that is a telling thing about our society. Is what you just asked.
Yeah, it is. And again, so the NFL schedule comes out on Wednesday. Browns fans are excited. I get it. The Browns are excited. I get it. I saw a headline today that said the players don't care, and I said, bullshit. Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham, they care. The Browns care. It's a big deal here.
Right.
So, the NFL, what it does, how it's gotten to where it's gotten, it's taken things that are basically non-events and turned them in to huge things. It's not huge all across the league. You know who you're playing. You got to play 16 and win. And when September comes, the cliched answer is correct. You got to play 16, got to play them at some point. We got to take the challenge in front of us, whether it's short week, long week, good team, bad team, favored by 14, underdog by 10. But for where the Browns have been to where they would like to announce themselves as come in a short period of time, to what it'll mean to the fans and just to the NFL, to have such a template buster out here. It's an exciting day Wednesday, and I'm not going to take anyone 1 ounce of excitement away from anyone when it comes to the schedule, because I'm damn excited to see it too.
Yeah, I've always been excited about this day. Just for the simplest thing of knowing what your fall is going to be like. It sounds silly and sounds stupid, but That's important. What can we plan on? Where can you go? What game will I may talk myself into going to? I think it is an exciting time. I think a lot of people take it too far, and every radio station from the East Coast to the West Coast will be doing the let's play the schedule game, which is one of the dorkiest things in the world. But otherwise, I do find it to be a great day. And look, ESPN, and we talk about this, NFL, they know what they're doing. They know how to hype you up and get you ready for it. So I do look forward to it because, as I said, it kind of paints the picture for what we'll be looking forward to come this fall.
Well, the schedule game has become kind of a parody of itself, and it is funny. We know on our favorite morning show, this will be the fourth year in a row. Ken will pick 13-3. Raj will pick 6-10. It'll make good for good discussion. But for once, Dre, I think those numbers I just said, they're all in play, right? Anything can happen with this team. They definitely have good vibes. They've earned the momentum by finishing 5-2, and they haven't won shit yet. And they don't have guys on the team who have won shit at the NFL level. So we'll see. I know the Pittsburgh Steelers will be circling that first Browns game. I know the Ravens will be. And it's cool for the Browns to have the opportunity. I know they'll have 4 primetime games. They might have 5 on the initial schedule. You would guess that a Thursday night, a Sunday night, probably 2 Mondays, maybe 2 Sundays. I don't know when you look at the possibility of playing the Patriots, playing the Rams, the Seahawks, the Steelers. Those are all like the elite teams that have been solid organizations that have spotlight guys. So we will see. It is an exciting time, and when we see it, you'll get back here, and later in the week or whenever we will talk more about it. And then it'll be, eventually it'll be an is what it is situation. You play what's in front of you. But I think it's something that's been earned by the fans and the players, and it should be real interesting to see how it actually shakes out.
Yes. And in our baseball minute, let's just breathe before we jump off the 480 bridge. Nobody knows how good or bad anybody is. Look at the standings of every team before you bitch about your own. Baseball is a marathon of marathons. And I will say this, speaking of marathon, and this has got nothing to do with sports. I know we're up against it. The Nipsey Hussle thing, him passing away, getting shot and killed, I still haven't really recovered from it. I'm still listening to his music a ton, still looking into things that he was doing for his community, still just trying to find the right way to find a way to be a better person because of who he was. I love what he did for his community, what he did for people around him that didn't have a chance to do what was best for them. Was he a perfect person? No, he was not. None of us are, but much like the Tiger Woods story that we continue to go through, we only get so many people that actually give a shit about not only themselves but their community. And he seemed to be one of those. And I'll be honest, I'm not one of those touchy-feely, emotional guys. I don't get up or too high or too low on death and on life. Obviously, I love being a father. Obviously, I love my family and my kids. But when stars, movie actors, people of that nature usually pass away, I'm like, that's too bad. That's too bad for the family. The Nipsey Hussle one just has touched me differently. I'm just being honest, and I'm just saying it out loud. I've done a couple different podcasts since the last time Zach and I have done a podcast. And don't ever forget, this is my favorite one to do and what I like doing. But after doing one on fatherhood a couple of days ago with a colleague, I guess, that used to work for ESPN, Jamar Hudson, you can find it on my Twitter page. I tweeted it out a couple of times where we just talked about being a father, and he's got a fatherhood. Why can't I think of the name? Podcast. It was cool to do that, but the Nipsey Hussle thing has just been really, really weird. And if you're just looking for some interesting reading, just read about what he was doing in his community, what he was doing for people. And, it's like LeBron. We talk about LeBron a lot, we talk a lot about his basketball stuff. What he's done in the community of Akron is going to last way longer than any jump shot he's ever made. And what Nipsey Hussle has done in his community of Crenshaw in that area, it's going to last a lot longer than any song I can play for you or to tell you why I feel the way I feel about him. And I find that cool that there's young men, especially African-American men, that are doing the best for their community in a time where it's not always talked about. It's not the thing that makes the front page of the newspaper, because I'll admit I learned more about Nipsey Hussle after his death than I did when he was living. And I'm pissed off that that's how I found out.
Well, I'm proud that we've come to the point that when we go a week without doing these, that we hear from you guys. You want one? That makes us both proud, makes us both happy. I'm proud that we can get on here and just talk in real terms and agree and disagree and do whatever as we did for the last 49 minutes or so. Hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, piss off. I got to go. I got a lot of pictures to take of myself. We'll see you next time.
Konnichiwa, Magic.